Ta-da! Good afternoon, everybody. We did it. We made it back to another exciting daily diaries. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. They're not exactly episodes. Um, as you can tell by the title of the video, this is a drawing-oriented day. As usual, we like to draw every day, so that's what we're doing together. Class, if you're watching, then that might mean that you're interested in learning how to draw. Maybe you're curious, you've dabbled in drawing. You don't, I mean, it's a broad spectrum, but anyone can learn at any time, and anyone at any level can always get better by practicing the basics. So that's what this is about. We want to get better, we want to grow as artists, and the best way to do that is by practicing the basics. So, what are those, you might ask? Where can I find them? This book is a great example. It's what my first art teacher used to teach me how to draw. It's called The New, because it's updated. They keep doing new editions, but Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain, which is a course in enhancing creativity and artistic confidence by Betty Edwards. And on the back of the book, it talks all about how, she's a professor. She worked at UCLA, so California State University. That's a pretty big deal. They talk about her in Los Angeles Times, Seattle Times, Reader's Digest, New York Times, blah, 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 blah. It uses brain research to teach you how to draw. And it's so good that they translated it into every language. The people start out drawing like this, and then after just 4 days, they're drawing like this. And granted, it's like she calls it her killer class. These people do intense drawing practice, but I don't think we really need to do that. I think we just do a little bit every day, and you do it the right way, and we'll get better. So, starting off with a picture of a brain, because that's what we're doing. We're going to be learning about. What does it take to learn how to draw? This book talks about there's two things that you can do. You can practice the 5 basic skills of drawing. I'm going to get you a little closer so you can see what I'm talking about. I might have to hold the phone. Oh well, that's okay. Get the light on so I can see it. This is how we start class every day, so we might as well jump right in. Get comfortable, everybody, because we're going to read them together. What are the 5 basic skills of drawing? Drawing is a global skill. And they talk about up here, they're like, I'll speed through it. Drawing is a global skill, just like reading, writing, drawing. Once you learn it, you don't forget it, and it's made up of skills that you put together. So that's the gist. What are those 5 skills? Well, they're not drawing skills. They're actually skills of perception. So, I'm reading, so you don't quite need to see my head. So, the 5 basic skills of drawing: a global skill of a perceived object, person, landscape, something you see out there, requires only 5 basic component skills, class, no more. And these skills aren't even drawing skills, they are perceptual skills, listed as follows. Now let's read them together, class. If you're new, you're learning. If you're returning, this is a good reminder. 1. Perception of edges. 2. The perception of spaces. 3. The perception of relationships. 4. The perception of lights and shadows. And 5. The perception of the whole, or the gestalt. And number 5 basically means the first 4 put together, which comes naturally. You don't even really need to practice that one. So it's really only 4 skills. And then over here it talks about how they build upon each other. You learn edges, and then you move on to spaces, and then you move on to relationships, and then lights and shadows. And then the fifth is the Gestalt, which it's just the first four put together. That's really it. Over here, the author talks about, yeah, how she learned about brains, and that we learned that there are different parts of the brain that do different things, and we have like L brain is, oh man, let's go over here. I guess we're still practicing what parts of the book to read and when. So you have two brains, everyone. If you didn't know, now you know. A left brain and a right, and modern brain scientists now know that your left brain is your verbal and rational brain. It thinks seriously and reduces its thoughts to numbers, letters, and words. Your right brain is your nonverbal and intuitive brain. It thinks in patterns or pictures composed of whole things and does not comprehend reductions, either numbers, letters, or words. So imagine like our brain is Dory and L brain is like Marlin. I mean, get it? Get it? See? It's easy. And yeah, there's neurosurgeon, blah, blah, blah. So then over here, I've underlined very helpfully. She talks about the exercises are to teach you those 5 skills that we talked about, and then also provide conditions that help you make the cognitive shift to the R mode, which we just talked about. What that means, the thinking seeing mode specialized for drawing. And in short, thank God, in the process of learning to draw, one also learns to control, at least to some degree, the mode by which one's own brain handles information. So isn't that cool, everybody? That means that we are like superheroes and we can flip back and forth between like different parts of ourselves. So the better you get at doing that, the better you can be at drawing. I've done the face faz with you guys several times in the videos. Like, how many times do we have to do that? But I still haven't seen anyone respond with one yet. So I feel like I can't really move on. I want to do upside down drawing, but I have to keep doing this with you guys. I'm going to use a pen. I'm just jumping straight into a pen, everybody. I'll make my head bigger when we do the portrait. Oh, we're only 7 minutes in, so I guess I'm not that late. We're learning how to draw by, first we're going to do the exercises in drawing on the right side of the brain. Then we're going to do a little bit of anatomy. Then we're going to draw some gesture drawings, and then finally finish with a self-portrait, and then we'll end class with critique. That's generally how my art classes go, and I try to keep them at an hour long. So the author talks about how this is a good exercise because I'll do the exercise with you. Let's do it at the same time. So we're going to draw one side. If you're right-handed, you know, just figure it out, right hand, left hand. I'm going to start up here. Then I'm going to go down. How did you do, class? Did you do it with me? Because now we're going to do the next part. We're going to do the same thing on obviously the reflected side. But as we go along, we're going to say the parts of the face. So like chin, lips, nose, you know, do it. Just do it. I'm going to do it now, and then you can pause it and do it on your own or whatever. But go slow, do whatever. I don't know. You figure it out. So I'm going to do it now. Chin, lips, nose, eyeball, forehead, hairline. Da, 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 da. I tried to add in even more words because I've done this a couple times. And now, should I color it in? I don't know. That'll take too much time. You guys color yours in. just like that, but I'm skipping ahead. So they talk about the exercise. Um, we did it. You can skip ahead if you didn't like it or whatever. I don't know. Just figure it out. Ooh, that's kind of working. I like this. That's good so far. That's working. Not really, but we're trying, class. Unless someone wants to be my my videographer, or whatever. So, this exercise that follows are specifically designed to help you understand the shift from dominant left hemisphere mode to subdominant R mode. So, basically, L mode is like gimme, gimme, gimme. R mode is like in the background most of the time. I could go on describing the process over and over in words, but only you can experience for yourself this cognitive shift, this slight change in subjective state. So you don't even need drugs to change your state of mind. You can just draw, guys. As Fats Waller once said, if you gotta ask what jazz is, you ain't gonna never know. You ain't never gonna know. So I guess that's a good jazz quote. I don't know. So it's with this R mode state, you must experience the L to R mode shift. Observe the R mode state, and in this way come to know it. As a first step, this exercise below is designed to cause conflict between the two modes. So this is a big deal. Did you guys experience any conflict when you drew the vase? Because, let's. Oh, goodness gracious. Ace is bodacious. So did you guys experience any kind of conflict? Because now we're going to talk about why we did this exercise. So, okay, this is working. We're getting a little better. Getting a little bit better as we go. So, why did we do this exercise, yos? Nearly all of my students experience some confusion or conflict while doing this exercise. A few people experience a great deal of conflict, even a moment of paralysis. If this happened to you, you may have come to a point where you needed to change direction in the drawing, but didn't know which way to go. The conflict may have been so great that you could not make your hand move the pencil to the right or the left. That is the purpose of this exercise, to create conflicts that each person can experience in their own minds, the mental crunch that can occur when the instructions are inappropriate to the task at hand. So, haha, I guess I tricked you guys. I didn't want to tell you what was going to happen. I believe that the conflict can be explained. Oops. It's like there's two spots to move it, and I always move it in the wrong spot. I gave you instructions that strongly plugged in the verbal system in the brain. Remember that I insisted that you name each part? Then she goes on, blah, blah, blah. That's what we did. We did that exercise so that you would experience the conflict because we told you to use language, which is L brain, and drawing is right brain. So if you're feeling that conflict, that paralysis, like wanting to throw your book out the window or burn it in a trash can fire, then that means you're on the right track because the L brain will be like, I give up. R brain, I know that I tried first, but I don't want to do this, so you do it. And then the R brain can like totally very easily draw. They talk about upside down drawing, and I literally will move on to upside down drawing as soon as someone responds with a drawing of a face vase because I don't believe that I can move on. I'm just going to have to keep going over the same things. So another thing, again, we're starting with edges, then spaces, then relationships. What is an edge, you might ask? An edge, they talk about, an edge is a shared boundary. That is a perception of edges. Shared boundary. How can I figure that out? They talk about pure contour drawing is another example, an exercise in this book. Just like this guy, he's looking at his hand over here. and he sees all of these wrinkles in his hand, and then on the other, you know, I keep pointing at the computer screen. On the table, he's going to be drawing on paper, notebook, whatever. But he's not looking at what he's drawing because he's going to set the timer for 5 minutes and draw his wrinkles for 5 minutes. And after a little bit, the L brain will be like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I know what wrinkles are. I've seen a million times. Our brain will like pick it up. It'll pick up the task and start doing it. So the edges are the wrinkles in your hand. Um, an edge doesn't necessarily mean like, see, there's the edge of my head and then the wall behind it, but then there's edges inside the space. That's how we get to space, because you put the edges together, and you have the space, but there's still edges in the space. So edges, spaces, you get it. Relationships would be, where are the spaces next to each other? You get it. Hands in front of each other, in front of head, relationships. Lights and shadow is just shading. So you can practice that too. They show you a ton of examples. That's literally what your drawings should look like. Pure contour drawings are just squiggles. I just saw a George Orwell quote. Do you guys want to do a little George Orwell? Just for funsies? I don't think I've read this quote yet. In prose, the worst thing one can do with words is to surrender to them. Interesting. Where'd I go? When you think of a concrete object, you think wordlessly, and then you want to describe the thing you have been visualizing. You probably hunt about till you find the exact words that seem to fix it. When you think of something abstract, you are more inclined to use words from the start, and unless you make a conscious effort to prevent it, the existing dialect will come rushing in and do the job for you at the expense of blurring or even changing your meaning. Probably it is better to put off using words as long as possible and get one's meaning clear as one can through pictures or sensations. Interesting. So when you think words, it like interferes with reality, because the L brain just wants to make symbols and skip over what it's seeing. So if you've ever met a crazy person, it's probably because they've got an imbalance and they can't consciously switch back and forth. Pure contour drawing may function as a shock treatment for the brain, forcing it to do things differently. Blah blah. L mode will drop out. I already named it. It's a wrinkle. They're all alike. Why bother with this looking? So yeah, blah blah blah. Blah blah blah. They do some negative space exercises. Blah blah blah. They talk about how you can use grids. Grids are a good way to learn how to draw. They do viewfinder. That's a good one. Just having like glass or plexiglass and then drawing on it with like a dry erase marker, and then you can transcribe it to tracing paper, and then you can transcribe that to paper. That is still the exact same thing, but with more steps in between. So like, it's not cheating. You're allowed to do stuff like that. The book gives you technical advice about, oh, the eyes are in the middle of the head. What else? I don't really use that much of the technical stuff, but I do know that a common thing for people to do is like chop off the top of the head. So like, make sure that the eyes to the chin are like the same as eyes to the head. But anyways, we'll get to that in the anatomy. Yeah, they just give lots of good examples in this book. So, we did our exercise. We talked about drawing on the right side of the brain. So if you want to learn how to draw, learn those 5 perceptual skills, and then give your brain conditions to be more R mode instead of L mode. And basically, that means give your L brain a task that it'll refuse, like pure contour drawing. It'll give up after 5 minutes. then that's usually a good time to start drawing. So we already did this, and that got our brain all ready to start drawing our anatomy out of our textbook. And we're only 20 minutes in. Not bad, everybody. Drink green tea. It's good for your health. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Are you interested in anatomy? Anatomy is fun. Ooh, look at this. Do you want to be able to draw booties like that? Do you want to be able to draw, you know, abs and booty? Art is fun. You get to draw booty. Artists are like scientists. They had to, you know, be there for the whole thing. It's talking about medieval times and, you know, in order to draw well. Ooh, that's Michelangelo drawing. I just love sketches. I want to draw like this, everybody. Don't you? This is so beautiful. Look at that badonk. Look at that guy. Not to say that everyone needs to be like really nice booty. Booty! In my high school, I went to LaGuardia High School, and all across the 7th floor on one side, because we had anatomy class, and we would hang up the drawings. So there was just like not safe for work drawings all across the 7th floor. So hashtag LaGuardia. Look at these nice drawings. I don't have any white chalk, so I'm kind of just working with my dark tones. So what's a good thing to start with? The first chapter is literally just talking about the language of anatomy. Hyperextension, flexion. It's just a lot of words. It's a lot of new words because they give you the scientific words for everything. Supination is turning out. Pronation is turning in. So that's a little thing. Circumduction, I guess that's moving in all planes. Ooh, interesting. Circumduction. Anyways, I'm trying to tell you we start with the skull. That's a good place to start. Skull, then spine, then hips. Then you've pretty much got a good gesture. That's what my teacher taught me. When we were doing gesture drawings, he would say like start with the head, then draw the spine. Then you do like shoulders and hips after that. But you gotta get it in space. You gotta nail it down. There's so many cool things in our body. Don't you just want to know all about all of it? Shows our ligaments, muscle fibers. Wowie wow. There's a babe. There's a babe. Nice back guy. Alright, so we're about up to where we were. I think I'm just going to skip ahead. We're going to draw all of these, and we're going to learn all the names. Aren't you guys excited? Suture joints. That's what those are. Suture joints. I've been calling them squiggly gibbly gibblies. Squiggly gibbly gibblies. I literally never had a word, but they're called suture joints. Which is weird because doesn't that mean like stitches? It looks like it's been sewn together. I guess that's what they're trying to say. Suture joints. I copied a lot of these when I was applying to art school, art colleges and stuff. I got into mica but even with a scholarship, which I did get a scholarship to mica, even with the scholarship, it was still like twice as expensive as the liberal arts college that I went to. So, yeah. It would have been like city school versus like country school. So I went country route and paid for it in different ways. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. So it's got all of the muscles, blah 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 blah. Oh my goodness, let's really get into it. So usually where we start is here. We've learned all of these things, but not quite. Off the top of our heads, we've got zygomatic arch, mandible. root of the nose, nason. That's the glabella. Eye socket is the orbit, or orbital, I forget the name. Frontal bone, occipital bone, temporal bone, suture joint. Is that what it was? Suture joint? So we're learning. We've been practicing for a while. Superior temporal line, that's what I was trying to say. Superciliary arch, glabella. I've been saying glabella. Glabella, nason. So, yeah, as you can see, the skull is really made up of more than one bone. It's made up of like several bones. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to draw this thing over here. But we're also going to divide up the bones by color. That's kind of what... Ooh, are we going to really use color pencils today? Ta-da! I've never even opened these yet. Premium colored pencils, yos. Wow, we're gonna use color just to help you guys understand what we're doing. Wow, this is so exciting. I hope they're sharpened, but I do have a sharpener right here. Oh, I'm all set up. Don't you just love when you're all set up? Ooh, if I can open it. I can't open it, yos. I can't open it, yos. I don't want to break them. It's very delicate. It's like your makeup kit. Like you want to take care of your makeup. What the heck? It's like a pickle jar. I literally... Oh my god, I'm so stupid, guys. It's taped down. Ugh, my god. I do have a knife. Like or subscribe or I'll cut ya. I'll do it. I'm crazy. That's my favorite joke to make. Don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody. That was dumb. So anyways, I do not condone violence. Violence is bad. Find something else to do. Draw. Calm yourself down. Meditate. Drink some green tea. Boop, 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 boop. 48 colored, premium colored pencils. Actually, I have better ones over there, but these are going to be good to use for now. It smells so good. Do you guys want to smell? Smell 'em. Okay, just have to move my nail polish around. So, here's what we're going to do. We are going to draw this skull first, right here. And we're going to draw this skull right here. And if you couldn't see, I drew a very light little squarey thing. So I can see the skull is kind of... let's get me more on cameras, because you want to see my beautiful face. I start out with kind of like a circle, and then I bring it down a little bit. So you get like an oblongular shape. You want to be like an ovally egg kind of thing. How do I want to do this? Like, I see the zygomatic bone is kind of like right in the middle. So I'm kind of going to start with this. I don't think I've really drawn this one yet. I'm usually doing other stuff with you guys. I like to draw the glabella and the nasal bone. I should really be putting less detail in it first. Like you want to start off really general when you start a drawing, because if you're not happy with the spot that it's in, there's really nothing you can do about it. If you've already, locked it in place. So that's why we like to just start off easy breezy, easy breezy, breezy, breezy. I think I made that way too big. It's okay. It's not too bad. I just didn't make the teeth big enough. So I'm going to color this in a little bit now that I'm happy that that's there. I'm going to color this in a little bit because I'm happy with it. Boop boo doo 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 doo. Skulls are fun to draw. Just wait till it's Halloween, guys. You practice anatomy, you will be the most popular person on Halloween because you're going to be able to draw a skull on everybody. Not just a skull, but we're going to do everything. We're going to do the whole kit and caboodle. Is that a thing people say? I think that had to come out further. Yep, that had to come out further. Which means that has to come out further. Do 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 do. Oh, maybe, I don't know. So I basically just put a skull on the paper. And now I'm going to define it a little better with my line work because that is important. If you're drawing and you don't have sharp lines, then you haven't quite understood what edges mean. And that is the first thing that we do in drawing is perception of edges. So that's why after I put everything in place, I like to really define it with a strong, confident line. We usually start with anatomy and then work our way into the self-portraiture afterwards because, again, I was going back and forth. Like, I'd started drawing figure drawing and I wasn't happy with the way they were coming out. So I started drawing anatomy out of my book and I was like, ooh, I'm so good. I'm going to start drawing my portraits. So I started drawing the portraits. And then I was like, oh, wait a second. Maybe I didn't know everything as good as I thought I did. So I kind of had to back up. And now that's why we are doing the basics, from drawing on the right side of the brain. And then that's why we're doing our anatomy. And through our hard work, we should be able to draw good portraits, and that's really what we want to do. Sorry, talking and drawing at the same time is like, what am I doing? I see how this is like really swooping down, and I don't think I had really hammered it in well. Let's see. Yep. Okay, so that's basically it. And we've done the teeth enough times to not be afraid. We know that there's like 2 big ones, and then another 2 ones over there, and then another 2, and then another 2. What are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then there is 8 behind it, but you can't see it, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, and then we'll do the same thing on the bottom, just a little bit smaller. 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom! Not a bad skull, This is the maxilla. Okay, so I think that's enough of that. We can put some color into it now. What do you guys think? Boop 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 boop. Oh, I was missing that. Do we want to color it in first, or do we want to do the other? I think maybe we'll do the other skull first. And then we'll color them in after we've proven to ourselves that we are master drawers, because we can... I miss calling this squiggly digglies, but now that I know what it's called, I kind of feel like that part of my life is over. A do 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 do. Got some apples, doot doot doo. I got some apples, you got some too. A doot doot doo. Thanks, Butters, for the song. So right behind the orbital is the zygomatic arch. Boop 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 boo. The zygomatic arch is connected to the mandible. Doot 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 doo. Only comes out to about that far. His sight. I think I did this too big, so it's really gotta be more like there. A boop boop boo boop boo doo 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 doo. That's where the teeth go. Do 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 do. A boop boo doo 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 doo. Can you see what I'm doing? Like, you kind of just gotta feel it out. A lot of drawing is just you gotta find out for yourself, man. Um, so that's what I think my greatest achievement as a teacher is, just providing the materials for my students. Because for them to have the ability to sit down at a table that already has paper, already has pencils, already has markers, um, all of those materials are just so attractive that I wouldn't even necessarily need to give an art lesson, because they would already be like off on their own doing all kinds of stuff that I wouldn't even think to come up with in a lesson. So that's why I tried to give them a little bit of free time every single day. But I also was militant about, like, okay, we're lining up outside and we're not even going to enter the classroom until you guys are calm, because they would be like wound up. This was an after school program. I kid you not, these kids were off the wall, like bouncing off the walls. And I had like upwards of, like we had like 20 kids in my class, so I do. Thankfully, it was after recess, so we'd play bunny catcher and tire them out. That was another like most important thing, as I don't even know what would I call myself. Like I was a teaching artist, but it was kind of more than that, because you kind of become like their parents. Like they would actually call you mom or dad by accident, and then it would be really embarrassing for them. But when it happens on the opposite end, like usually you have memories of doing that as a kid, but when you're an adult and that happens to you, um, you know, it just gives you perspective. Do 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 do. So yeah, I wouldn't even let them in until they were calmed down, and then I had my expectation board, which were rules for the class that we all came up with together, and it was just stuff like respect the art supplies, don't run around the class, don't be talking when not talking when you're not supposed to. The kids were allowed, they weren't allowed to talk when we were doing our portraits. I would sit them down and we would be drawing. Um, Hold on, let me try to divide this. We would be drawing for like 5 minutes. I would give like a 2 minute um, little demo, and then I would have them have their little hand mirrors, and they would try to whisper to each other and do all this stuff, and I would be like, I wanted to draw with them, but I would always have to like stop and just walk around the class and make sure that no one was talking. Eventually they got the hang of it though, and that's why I have an entire binder over there filled. Ooh, I don't know if I like what's going on here. That has to go up higher. I have a whole binder of these kids' awesome self-portraits, and they got so good so fast. So let's see. There's like 3 rectangles in the back. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then it goes into like 3 diamond shapes. And then after the diamond shapes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you get your square rectangle ones. Da 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 da, and that's how you draw a skull, everybody. Show me your skull. I want to see it. Take a picture and upload it so I can see it. Show me your work. I want to see it. We're a community. We're a community. Yeah, we're all friends. Are you lonely? Do you sit up late at night wishing that you had friends? Well, hit like and subscribe! Hey, I don't have an OnlyFans. It's literally like the exact same thing though. I do. Nothing against people who have OnlyFans. You are doing God's work. I just like to finish up by shading in between the teeth because that really makes them pop. I didn't copy them like line by line out of the book because, once you know the shape of a tooth, you don't really have to go cray. Kind of just trying to divide it up so that I know where the colors are gonna go. Maybe I should go in with pen now. Ooh, I'm going in with pen, everybody. Gotta make those lines nice and strong. It really does make a huge difference. Like, you'll see what I'm talking about. And it's like really easy. If I was in animation, this would be like the inking stage. So it comes down like an S shape. I'm getting lots of S shapes today. So what's this class? The zygomatic arch. And goodness gracious. It's kind of like learning a new word in a language. The first time you learn the word, it's unfamiliar, and you're like, oh, like, what's that word? I don't know that word. It's scary. Ooh. But then once you actually like have used it a couple of times, your brain doesn't have to work as hard. Um, so that's kind of what it is here. I know they said language of anatomy, but it really is. It is like that. I know I'm not trying to make this all take so long, but I want to show you guys that like drawing is a process and don't be afraid to take your time. In fact, you really should be taking your time. In fact, the longer you take, the better. Like this is the opposite of a race. The slower you draw, typically the better you are at everything. Ow, my hand is starting to hurt. Ow. Relax your hand, everybody, every once in a while. Now moving on to this part of the skull. Try not to draw with your fingers too much. Like, get into the habit of really using your shoulder and whatever else. No, I'm kidding. Like, just your shoulder. Like, keep your wrist straight and not use your fingers. Do 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 do. Boop boo boo boop boop boo. This is fun. This is fun. This is fun. Just think of all the fun figures that we're gonna draw, just like in the Titanic. Draw me like one of your French girls. Okay. Drop trow. I mean disrobe. That's the respectful way to be like to your models. Which will be, I'm doing self-portraits, so I will be doing that. In a second. By the way, you like my tie and everything? I didn't work hard. Tying ties are easy. So I see, boop, there's a little squiggly diggly, squiggly diggly diggly, squiggly diggly diggly, squiggly diggly doo. There's like this little bone right there, and I'm like, what the heck is that little bony? What am I even looking at here? So the zygomatic arch is there. It's like a puzzle, yos. So I don't know. Have you ever done a puzzle before? It's fun. One, two, three, three, four, four, five. That's six actually. 7, 8, 9, bum, ba, da, da, dum, bum, boo, 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 boo. Okay. And this guy must have worked hard to keep his teeth really nice because he kept them all the way until he died, so he's probably not a caveman skull. You want to name him? Because most people like to name their skeleton thingies. Jack. I'm calling this guy Jack because it's literally the first skeleton that came to my unconscious mind. Do 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 do. So now I'm pretty happy with that. We've got our skulls. We know a couple of the terminology, but we haven't learned it all yet. So let's do it. The blue bone is the maxilla. So I'm gonna color it in blue. Blue, 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 blue. I like blue. I like blue. Do you like blue? Comment below if you like blue. How about my singing? Do 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 do. This is mostly for me. As much as I like you guys, I really started to become a teacher so that I would be better as an artist. And then the nasal bone is yellow. And then the zygomatic bone is green, or verde in Spanish, or darn, I'm forgetting what it's called in Greek. I would always mix it up with pear. Da 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 da. So the maxilla is next. Interesting. I was always mixing them up. I kind of just mashed them together in my mind, but here's a different little line over here. So the maxilla is blue. Boop boop doo doo. Give him a little whisker, and then zygomatic bone is here, and then this little thing in the middle of the nose is purple. You can't even see it. It's the thing like right in between your nose. Did you see what I did there? That's purple, and it's called the Vomer Bone. Boop. Now it's a booger bone. The nasal bone we already said. Boop. And then behind the eyes, I see red. And it's called... Ooh, I colored it in way too dark, everybody. Maybe I can fix it with an eraser. I'm going to say be sparing with your eraser because you don't want to get into the habit of, like, you know, relying on it. But you're allowed to use your eraser. Ow, my hand really hurts. I have to, like, do hand stretches or something. Ow. I was typing this morning. I have to take care of your hands, everybody, because drawing is important. So that's called the lacrimal bone. Lacrimal bone. Boop, 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 boop. If I could poke my eyes out, I'd show you. Okay, now we're moving on. This whole thing in the book is called, who knows? We actually should know this one. Frontal bone. I'm going to color them in first. And then parietal bone. Parietal. Am I saying them right? If I'm saying them right, comment below. If not, also comment below. Comment below. That is how I'm going to get you to comment below. And when you hear me shout, comment below and pour me out. I'm coloring them in. That was okay. I'll go through it in a second, but I want to color them in. No, I'm doing it wrong. I should go by. So we did frontal bone here. And then over here we did parietal bone. And then this greeny guy, Syphonoid Bone. Syphonoid Bone. Did you know that you had a syphonoid bone? And it's underneath the zygomatic bone. We've got an orangey guy back here. Oh man, I need to make the red redder so that the orange can be orangier. You know what I mean, man? Yos? You my yos out there? What should I call you guys? Because I've just been calling you my yos up until now. Or my students, or my teachers. Are you my teacher? Probably not. I mean, maybe. I've actually been learning from a lot of people on YouTube, so maybe you guys can be my teachers, and maybe you can correct my work. Ooh, that's a fun little twist. Putting my work out there so that people will tell me that it's bad. So what's this orangey one, everybody? That's called the Temporal Bone. Interesting. I thought these were the same thing. I'm learning so much every day, everybody. This is so fun. So this is your temporal bone. This is your parietal bone. This is your frontal bone. This is your occipital bone. We've got zygomatic arch, maxilla, mandible. This is fun. I still don't know all of them. Syphonoid bone, I'm like, what is that? Syphonoid? Sphenoid, and Vomer Bone. The more we say it, the better we'll learn it, because repetition is literally like the only way we learn. And if you disagree, I dare you to try to teach a kid anything, because you'll be saying the same thing every day for a year. And it's kind of ridiculous that teachers are expected to come up with lesson plans for like, it's so ridiculous because everyone is so different, and to have the same lesson plan for such a wide range of kids who are at different stages is just ridiculous. Meet me where you're at, and I will give you a gold star. That's all I ask, is just meet me where you're at. Unless you're better than me, then you can just tell me I stink. So, oh, we totally didn't even color in the mandible over here. Which is like brown, but I'm kind of just gonna make it this. I don't know. We've already got a purple, so there's like this weird orangey thing over here. Yeah, that's kind of close. It's like, no, that's not good enough. I guess I gotta mix them. So yellow plus purple is actually pretty close to the color that I wanted. So How funny is that? You can mix colors with colored pencils just like you can with a paintbrush. Did we label them all? So that's the mandible. We just color coded our skull, everybody. Wasn't that fun? So, mandible all together, class. I'm going to point it at my head while I do this. Starting from, where do we want to start? We'll start from the bottom. Mandible. Maxilla. Oh, I didn't even write them all. Inferior nasal conchella. I didn't even get them all. Inferior nasal concha. And it is behind, it's literally, oh my god, the tiniest thing ever. I'm gonna make it black. No, I'm gonna, it's, it's like a bluey thing. But I already have blue. It's like a blue-green. So, I just don't feel like going underneath my colored pencils, but here's a good blue-green, whatever, it's like too late. Time to move on. My colored pencils always just like wind up in a pile, so take good care of your art supplies, everybody. It is one of our expectations, and I will absolutely have the expectation boards with me next class so we can go through them together. So anyways, let's draw a little line. Okay. Maxilla is here. And then, no, this is the maxilla. Mandible. Zygomatic bone is out here. So, inner cheekbone is maxilla, which is really the upper jaw and cheekbone are like the same thing. And then outer cheekbone connected to your eye socket is the zygomatic bone. And the zygomatic process is like, you know, this thingy. La 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 la. We've got so many bones, everybody. Temporal bone. I didn't even label them all yet. Occipital bone. And then we've got the nasal bone. Lacrimal bone is back there behind the eyes. Okay. We still didn't even know to do them all. Ethmoid bone. And there's like no space to put it, so I'm going to put it down here. Ethmoid bone is that little pinky guy. Okay. Do I have to say them all out loud again? I do, but I'm not going to right now. This is what it takes to learn anatomy. We are also an hour into class again, and this is about where I used to leave off, but now it's kind of where I just start drawing my self-portraits. So this is what I always say. I'm like, I don't want to draw. I feel like... Sorry, I'm super dehydrated. Welcome to my lecture. I'm like a college professor. I got a tie and everything. I picked out like the dumbest shirt ever. So what was I just trying to say? Oh yeah. This is what it takes to draw. All of that prep, if you do that every day, that is better than just straight up drawing a self-portrait every day. Because if you do that for 100 days, you will get better, but you will not have the basics. I mean, the more that you know how to draw a skull, the easier it will be to draw your own skull, which you do. You have to draw it every time you draw a face. You draw your skull. The muscles are all there. You don't have to. That's the thing about drawing. It's so interesting. I mean, anything can mean anything. That's what it means. This could be a grape. It could be an orange. It could be a skull. It could be whatever I want, because I'm the one who gives it meaning. Yeah. That's why pictures are better than words, in my opinion. Picture is worth 1,000 words, but it's really worth like way more because it's like indescribable. So I'm gonna put away our textbook. We started going into, we did the necks, the 7 cervical vertebrae of the neck. We started getting into the muscles, but what we realized was we were struggling. We just weren't confident with the skulls yet, and we're gonna need it. We know that this is the temporal bone, so putting the temporalis muscle, obviously that'll be easy because we just did the temporal bone. So lots of prep, lots of prep, lots of prep. But, it'll be easier to climb the mountain if you do your squats every day than if you just practice climbing the mountain every day. That's what I think. So, you gotta do both though. You gotta get the basics and go for gold. If there is an Olympics for drawing, I want to do it. So, how do we start drawing self-portraits? Obviously, like I've been blah blah blah. Do your exercises to refine your perceptions of the 5 skills, and then also set up conditions so that you're on the right brain. And how did I do that? Drawing the vase, drawing this whole time. The longer you draw, the more likely you are to be on the right brain. So hopefully we'll see how it comes out. Usually I'll start out with gesture drawing. Ooh, so I remembered this time. Um, I put on all this stuff just so I could take it off. This is a real tie with a real knot. I should have showed you up close. I think I did before already. I'm not gonna just throw it on the floor though because it's like a good tie. But I did pick out like the dumbest shirt I could find. Ooh 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 ooh! I'm taking off my shirt for the internet so I could draw myself as a model, 'cause I'm a figure model. Um, will any of you guys model for me? Because I'm like, I'm not tired of drawing myself because I haven't even gotten the hang of it yet, but it would be fun to do 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 do. So now I'm ready to draw my own figure. Da 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 da. My head is kind of like circular, but also like ovally, and then the muscles are like there, and then I've got my collarbone, but I forgot. I'm like, why am I drawing all the stuff down there? I haven't even drawn in my face yet. Kind of putting in some shadows to make it more three-dimensional. Boop, 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 and then bam, I'm like ready to start putting in a couple features. Just drawing exactly what I see, no more, no less. No stress. It's just a little gesture drawing. Um, you're supposed to be going, basically as fast as you can. And my hair is kind of curly on the bottom. I didn't do that, it does that itself. Got a little pony in the back. Yeah, that's my first gesture. Now let's do another gesture drawing right next to it. I'm gonna make my head a little bit bigger because I want to be able to see my face when I draw. Once I get the hang of doing my face like really well, then we can move on to the shoulders. I mean, obviously, I don't see us drawing the skull every single day and not remembering it eventually. Like it's what I said about repetition. Like the Syphonoid Bone, that was kind of new. Um, and by new, like, I don't know, maybe I learned and forgot it, but we learned about the parietal bone. Whoa, my eye's like way to the side. La 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 la. Ooh, someone's got the side eye. Except it was in the wrong spot, because that's where the glabella is. That's the temporal line. So actually, it was in the wrong spot. It should be here. Wait a second. I messed everything up. Oh well, it's okay. Does this mean that my actual drawing will be bad? No, it just means I can do another gesture drawing. I'm just going to do another gesture drawing. I'm going to keep going. So I've got a circle, and then ba 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 ba. Eyes would go about here, which means the glabella would go about here, which means nasal bone would go about here, which means that's about the maxilla. That's the zygomatic arch. That's the temporal line. I don't know the ear thing, but that's basically where the ear is. That's the mandible. So, I mean, I just tried to keep all of the anatomy that we learned in my mind while I was looking at what I was seeing, and I'm still on the fence on what's going on. I think I'm doing better. I mean, we do make jumps. We do grow, but it's kind of hard to see, I guess, maybe. I don't know. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. That's like the bridge of my nose, arch, whatever, my nose. That's my nose. Kind of see my face going like this. And then like that. Boop 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 do 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 do. This whole thing should be darker. Do 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 do. Now I kind of wanted a little more detail. This spot's usually pretty shady. La 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 la. I really want to get the highlight in my eye, but I always kind of get it wrong, so I'm just like leaving it out for now because I don't want to sacrifice the potential of drawing a good eye just because I was overzealous with the highlight. I would recommend like using an eraser. If it was a good enough eraser though, my erasers like never do what I want them to. So I think what I usually mess up around here on is when I talk, I usually like look at my lips. So I'll change the drawing because I want, but it's too late. I would have to start like that, but that's really more natural for me, so. If your face isn't being natural, your drawing is absolutely not going to be natural. Who knew? And we haven't even really gotten up to this part in the anatomy book, so I'm really excited to see how fast. I can't. I want to do it now. That's what I started out with in my. You can see in my other videos and my other, I'll show you at the end of the video. I go back in my books. Um, I was practicing anatomy for eyes and noses and lips. Um, but it still wasn't coming out right because, like I'm saying over and over and over, I didn't have the basics for all of the muscles, all of the bone. The easier the like once we know all the bones, the muscles are going to be easy because it's literally like the exact same thing. Um, I think all of this is going to be like monumentally better, and I don't think we're going to have to wait forever for that to happen. And this is my third drawing, so it's pretty much going to be my self-portrait for today. No one ever said every single one had to be a giant portrait. Like, you're allowed to draw small sometimes. Go with what you're feeling that day. I was really focusing on the skulls for the last couple of videos. I feel like if I were to hyper focus on drawing the portraits before I do the anatomy, it would just be a waste of time because I wouldn't be satisfied with any of them because they'd all be wrong. That's like literally, I keep saying this every single video. I wanted I wanted to get better at drawing portraits, so I was like, I'm gonna draw 500 portraits and make a book out of them, and I'm gonna show people that if you just keep doing it, you'll get there. And it was like, I just had hundreds of bad portraits because I wasn't learning. My shoulders, it's like coming out almost by my lips. That would be my neck, which means that's my hair, which really comes down to about where my lips are. The eye was looking really good on paper, but now it's like just looking really bad. It is a portrait, though. This is what people look like. This is people. People it is. I'm like checking my anatomy again. This would be the maxilla, which means this would be the mandible about. Yeah, I feel like everything I put on top of this drawing wouldn't really make it any better, or I don't know. It's not so good. It's not so bad. We can keep going. We can do a bigger one. Just for funsies. It's funny, sometimes after you get all the work done and you're like, okay, now it doesn't matter what I come up with. I can just draw loosely and like not worry about it. Sometimes that's like when you do come up with your best work. Because you're just not as focused on measuring like every single little thing. You're just like, oh, I'm just gonna put this here and it's gonna put that over there, and and you just work it out, work it out. Sometimes it comes out a little more cartoony. Sometimes things are like a little out of place, but sometimes you get something valuable out of it. So, mm, I don't make the rules. Just kidding. I kind of do sometimes. So, um, yeah, we already got all the work done today. We did our anatomy, we did our exercises, we did a couple portraits. So, if this were Pokemon, I would have gained experience. And I hope that you guys did too, because this is a community class. It's always off over here. I need to practice drawing that superciliary line, whatever it's called, but it's definitely important because I always mess up like right there. I want to be the very best that no one ever was. To catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause. I will travel far and wide. I don't know the words. Searching high and low. To catch them is my real test. To train them is my cause. Everybody draw. No one said art teachers were normal. In fact, if your art teacher is normal, then their art ain't good enough. It ain't doing the job. Art's supposed to push your boundaries. Yeah, I'm moving so much that it's like, I don't even know what I'm doing in the drawing anymore. This is like a large gesture drawing. I was just kind of like scribbling it in. I used to take like an hour to draw my self-portraits. And they're not very good. Looking back on them, I'm like, what? Oh, that's very... I can see how that temporal line, the skull should be coming all the way back to there. Yep. Temporal line. And then that means that that would put the headphones like here-ish. And then that put my ear here, which put my jaw here. And then if my ear is here, then that pushed my hair that way. And my shoulder is really about there on that side and there on this side. So, interesting. Interesting. I'm not sure how I feel about this. Let's get like a little collarbone action. Let's get... Yeah, I don't know. I keep moving stuff around. It's cray cray. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Boop 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 do 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 do. I've done several drawings today, and I don't need to do a million self-portraits. I just need to get the work in. I still want to try. I'm not like I'm saying everyone try, but try without being concerned about the results, because getting a portrait is the result of training our eyeballs. Really, this is about looking at yourself. How long have I been looking at myself for? Only, I guess, like 20 minutes-ish. Have these been really fast? Maybe that's why. I think I've been going much slower. in the past. But it's almost more important to draw just so that I can look back on them. It's important to draw just so that I can look back on them. As important as it is for me to draw now, like I don't even care. I just want to keep improving so that a month from now I will have been consistently drawing so that I can look back on this picture and be like, "Oh, well, I would be able to point out things that I can't even put in the drawing right now because I'm not like seeing them." So, again, we're all just practicing, we're refining our techniques. We know what we got to do. So if we just keep at it, I'm pretty convinced that it won't take long for us to be like really happy with the work that we're making. This goes for everybody. And you'll always improve. Like, so you'll always look back at your old work and be like, oh, well, I don't like it. That was kind of one of the defining characteristics of the art majors in LaGuardia was like, I mean, not everybody, but a lot of us, we just like hated our own work. I'm done. I gave it a good go. I'm covered, my hand's covered in lead, so that means that I did a good job. You guys only watch like 5 minutes of these videos anyway, and I'm doing this for my own practice sake, so adding it to the portfolio, daily diaries, everybody. I am done drawing myself, so I'm re-robing. I did five five pull-ups to get ready for this video. So I did 5 pull-ups, and I will be doing some downward dogs. This is the glabella. This is blue 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 blue. That's a blue blue blue, which means it comes blue 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 blue, which means blue 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 blue. Oh my goodness, I'm starting to get those really fancy construction lines that you only see like Da Vinci and Michelangelo level artists making because they've studied the anatomy. It's beautiful. I love art. I love art. I love art. I always talk about with my kids, like, think of your favorite song. Think of your favorite TV show. Think of your favorite cartoon. That's the sensation that you should be having when you're drawing. Like, you're just so in love. You're just like, oh, yes, drawing, drawing. Yes, I love drawing. Climax drawing. Yeah, I give up. You're allowed to give up in drawing. It's okay. I look like, I don't know, Iron Man. It's like a robot or something. So today, what do we do after we do our drawings, everybody? That's right, we sign and date it. So JSJ with my little butterfly smiley face. Oh, I thought I didn't record anything for a second. It said live 0, but recording we're at a good decent amount. So don't forget to subscribe and show me your work because we are a community and we're learning and growing together. Today is January 6th, 2021, and I didn't put in the background. I forgot. So I didn't forget. I just, I didn't do it yet. So I'm putting in my little clocky over here. And then this is, the chair with the chair on top of it. And that's, I see scissors and some markers and behind the chair. That's the closet with hangers and stuff. And then by my hair, I've got my bedspread, and there's another chair back there. See a computer screen over here. I almost started drawing my shirt. No, that wasn't part of it. Okay, so yeah, name, date. For your portfolio, you can say what kind of medium you did. This is obviously just pencil. That's the only thing I used. For the other ones, I had to like clean up the lines with pen. These were some of the gesture drawings that we did today. I could have kept going with that one. I could have saved it. Oh well. What else? I'm like, which way do I go in my book? I need to just get a new book because I'm doing a blah blah blah. We had a lot of fun with the anatomy. We learned, oh my god, lacrimal bone, zygomatic bone, maxilla, mandible, vomer bone, nasal concha. This is, or did I say nasal bone? Yeah, nasal bone. Yeah. Frontal bone, parietal bone, occipital bone, ethmoid bone, sphenoid bone, temporal bone. That's nuts, guys. And we did our vase exercise. I almost said experiment. I usually show off like what's in these books, but that's kind of what I used to do. This is the exact book that I was using to do my 365 draw. But like that's what my portraits used to look like. Like that's how I would draw a nose. And I couldn't even... I don't know how hard I was trying to put those eyes on the same plane, but like for some reason, yeah, these are better. At least they're on the same plane. All the noses are bad. The hands are pretty good. But you know, I'm just looking at all these old drawings, and I'm like, you know, I clearly didn't know what I was doing. I was just doing the best that I could. Like the hands came out good. I guess a lot of them come out good. But if you know all the bones in the hand, then it's just so much easier. I think once we get up to that part, it'll make things much easier. You know, try drawing with pen. Try colored pencil, try, I don't know, drawing on the computer, try drawing on the walls. Yeah, but like, you know, just because I kept drawing portraits didn't mean I was really... You just plateau, and I don't like to plateau. I just want to keep getting better and better and better. See, these, they look really good, but it's because I traced them. And not only did that, but I didn't memorize any of this wording. I know what they are now, though, because I've been drawing them every day. See, like in the middle, I put zygomatic arch, but I didn't put a line saying that it goes here, so I wouldn't have been able to tell you what any of this is. I literally just copied it, and that, in my opinion, is cheating, because I didn't put the work in to learn, and you got to put the work in if you want to learn. We got some penises for everyone who stayed for the end of the video. We've got more butts and more penises. If I get to 1,000 subscribers, we'll draw everything. We will draw everything on camera, and it is educational, so we're allowed to do that. Old sleeping people. So yeah, you know, old sketchbooks generally look bad. But I'm really happy with the anatomy. I feel like we learned a lot today. It is starting to sink in. I'm really dense, but it's starting to sink in. And we did all of these portraits today. So I like to finish. Do you want to say bye, everybody? Bye, everybody. It was fun. Thanks for making me alive by drawing me, and I can't wait to see you do the next one. In a month from now, you will be out of fashion. You will be very bad in a month from now. But for today, I'll say this was a very, very successful success. I look like a nut job. Yep, so we're at an hour and a half. I usually kind of chatted up with you guys. We did the critique. I don't know. I can do a little bit more of a critique because, oh, you saw a little nip over there. You know, these are what the older drawings look like. Some of them you can see. Some days I look okay with the, you know, we've done that. Some days I use markers, some days I was using pen. That was a good drawing. But I wasn't ready to move on, so we had to go back. So we've done the face vase so many times. I want you guys to show me your work. Show me your work, or I'll tell your parents or something. I don't know. I won't give you a hall pass if you don't show me your work. Boop boop. We obviously have been doing this for a while, so there's just a lot of evidence, lots of practice. So yeah, in the beginning we couldn't even say zygomatic bone, and now we know the whole zygomatic process. That's a zygomatic arch. The whole thing put together is a zygomatic process. Now I get it. Okay, so yeah, I like the glasses one. You guys have seen these a million times. Unless you're new, this is your first time you're watching it. This is your first time seeing all that. But yeah, drawing is really fun. Everyone can and should know how to draw. Any age, doesn't matter. Yep, this channel is all about learning about ourselves because as we saw in our book, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain, that you can learn how to control the degree of the way your brain processes information, and that gives you a huge leg up over people who can't do that. Bigly deal drawing is. It's a global task. So that means that it uses like all of your brain. So it'll probably protect you from Alzheimer's and stuff like that because, you know, it overflows into other aspects of your life. Like you'll be better at meditation. I've noticed after drawing consistently for a couple of weeks now, I've noticed in my day-to-day life a massive reduction in anxiety. Isn't that strange? Like I've spent more time cleaning. I've spent more time taking care of myself. You know, basic things: showering, brushing your teeth, cutting your nails, doing laundry, watering the plants, walking the dog. Every aspect of my life has become better as a result of drawing. And we're not even at the point where we're like figure drawing live people yet. And that would be the ultimate dream, is to be that guy on the side of the road who can set up an easel and, you know, start drawing people and in 5 to 20 minutes give them a finished piece. And then maybe I'll raise money for Butterfly Square Garden because that's literally what I'm here for. I think I was put on Earth just to terraform New York City to make it available to butterflies again, which means planting a lot of plants. So yeah, if you want to say hello to my butterflies, I always show them off before we go, but it's the end of the video, so I can do whatever I want. Oops. I gotta show you what I'm doing though. So yeah, check out those beautiful babies. I grew them from egg. And then over there in the window, you can see I've got, you know, the thistle growing in the window. And then in that mesh over here, I've got 6 chrysalises hung up. And I've got one more right here if you want to look at it. I don't know, you might think it's gross, but this is Butterfly Square Garden. Check it out. It's my chrysalis. It's a pupa. A butterfly will come out of that in like a week. So yeah, that's just some fun stuff that we do here at Butterfly Square Garden. We've been practicing drawing our anatomy, and we've been practicing our 5 the 5 points of perception. We're perceiving edges, perceiving spaces, perceiving relationships, perceiving lights and shadows, and perceiving the whole. Everything together. And We're practicing those with our exercises, and then we're also practicing our anatomy. We're going to put it all together and come up with something really good. We're getting a little better every day, but the important part is that we are doing it every day. We're making it a daily routine. So, everybody, you guys, 5 minutes a day, do a gesture drawing. If that's too much, do pure contour drawing for 5 minutes. If you do a week of doing pure contour drawing, the drawing squiggles in your hand, do that for 5 minutes a day for a week straight, and then on the eighth day, maybe then do a gesture drawing of something. Maybe print out a picture of a skull and copy it. I don't know. Maybe get a real fake skull off Amazon and use that. There's so many different ways that we can practice. Make it your own. I want to see every single one of you show me something entirely different because that is what it means to be creative. We are making it up as we go along. So we're going to use all these skills that we're learning and we're going to take it and do something that's never been done before. So let's do it together. Wouldn't that be fun if we had an entire community of people who can just draw really well? Wouldn't that be fun to have a whole room of people who could draw each other? It would be like, imagine learning a new language, and like imagine walking into a room where everyone was speaking sign language and you couldn't speak sign language, but you were the only one who couldn't. It would be like, what? But then imagine like learning sign language and then walking to a room and you know sign language with everyone else in the room, but then someone else walks into the room and they don't know sign language, but everyone else does. So they're all bilingual and the new person isn't. That let's all help that new person learn the sign language. Then we'd all like or earn a chorus, like a chorus. They can all sing together and they can all make the most amazing things. And I know that visual art is very like personal. Painting is like people doing it on their own, but that's why I think street art is so interesting because people, the kids with their spray paint and they like compete with each other and they're like uh yeah, they're having like art battles and they like paint over each other's stuff and everything's free game. So it's really fun. Maybe we'll do some of that. Like if you're really good at fine art and you want to do some street art, like that'll be impressive. So the sky's the limit. I don't know. I'm tired of talking to you guys. It's only an hour and a half video. Last time it was 2 hours, but it would be cool. I don't know. I'll probably end up trying to cap out at like an hour per lesson. So yeah, this is what we do every day. We'll do some drawing on the right side of the brain exercises. We'll do some anatomy exercises. We're gonna learn the language of anatomy. We have to learn the language. But then once we're fluent, we'll all be fluent in a language together, and it'll be a visual language. So I'm just so excited. Um, my old psych coordinator called it our visual voice, and I just think that that's like the coolest thing ever. So I don't know. Much love, everybody. As I always say, like let's grow together. It would be so cool to have a community of artists who all work together and build each other up and give each other feedback and criticism. We could all be drawing really well in no time. So I don't know. Just do it. Just do it. You fart. Just do it. And show me your work. Drop a comment and show me your work. And if you feel like liking and subscribing, that would be cool. But yeah, comments are what I want the most. Show me your work. See you tomorrow. Bye, bye, bye. We did it! Yay! Celebrate. We did it. We did another one. Yeah. Bye.